Thank you so much, Mark, and thank you to all the community for having me once again. It's something that really grounds me, just joining the sits or guiding the sits, and I'm really grateful to be here from the southernmost point of the world. I want to invite, if anyone feels comfortable and is able to open their cameras, it adds some community feeling to the space. And with that, I am going to give a brief outline of what we're going to focus on today, what the structure is going to look like. And if you have any questions, also feel free to save them towards the end of the practice, and we'll have some time to ask them as well. So before we begin, what we're going to speak about today is in relation to the month of Kislev, which is in the month that we're in right now. It's in relation to where we're at in the year, what we're going into as people who are based more or less in the Northern Hemisphere. If you're based in the Southern Hemisphere, it's teachings you can keep for when the summer and winter switch once again. And I'm teaching practices actually from the other side of the world. So what I'm teaching, it's more of a giving because we have sun here until 11 p.m. So hopefully it will still register. We're going to do a teaching I'm going to share for about 5 to 7 minutes, and then we're going to join a visually guided practice. If you've joined my practices before, you know there's usually an element of nature, some visualization, and then some quiet meditation. So if we sit in silence, don't worry, the computer is still working. We've just taken some time for silent meditation. So with that being said, welcome. Let's invite everybody to find a comfortable position. Taking a moment to set your space, to set the place around you. Taking a moment to get comfortable on this wintry afternoon. Taking a moment, if you're sitting, to place both your feet on the ground, first placing your right foot down, and then placing your left foot down. One more time. Now taking a deep breath in and placing your right foot down, your toes and your heel. And next, placing your left foot down, deep breath in and releasing. Making sure you have a comfortable cushion below you. Rolling our shoulders back. Once more. And rolling them forward. And letting them fall. For this teaching, even while we're receiving the teaching, we're gonna ingest it as if it's a meditation as well. So I invite you from now to close your eyes. Making sure your phone won't ring, making sure it's not on any part of your body. And let's take our first deep breath in together from all corners of the world, the blessing of being together to support one another, breathing in. And release, you could sigh it out. Breath in through the nose. And sigh it out. One more time, really getting into place, falling into our body, breathing in. And letting it go. In today's teaching, we're going to focus on the changing of seasons. We're going to focus on the transition into winter. Allowing ourselves, as nature does, to pass through our summer and our fall. We've shedded our leaves. Now it's time to gracefully enter a period of darkness. Trusting in the light within ourselves to guide us through, we breathe in and letting it go. Today is the 10th of Kislev. Kislev meaning the pocket of the heart, or putting your heart in your pocket. Kis is pocket in Hebrew, lev is heart. So let's take a moment to register with our heart, placing one hand on our heart. Imagining your hand is this pocket and you're holding within it this amazing, precious object. Feeling it beat. Knowing that it belongs to you, that it's yours to protect and to love and to keep safe. So breathing in the essence of this month, we breathe in the kis, we are the kis, we have the pocket to our heart. Breathing in, feel your chest rise and let it go. One more time, breathing in. Feel your heart expand, and you can let your hand fall down back to your knees or to your lap. When we focus on the essence of this month, we look at its physical characteristics. It's the first month of winter, time when it starts to get cold and nippy outside. Time when the sun starts to set earlier, maybe even 4 p.m., we have darkness. It's a time when we may be seeing people less, feeling more inclined to stay inside. But it's also a time of rejuvenation. Time to let things hibernate, to let yourself hibernate. To change your inner clock, your biological clock, and to do it with joy. When the sun sets on the outside, we have the chance to let the sun rise from within. And with each day of Kislev that passes, we're getting in preparation for one of the most beautiful Jewish holidays of light, the holiday of Hanukkah. And just like nature knows when to take a pause and when to rest, just as the trees know when to stop taking in nutrients from the soil, just as the squirrels know when to go into their nest and not come out, we allow ourselves to do the same over the next few months. Taking a deep breath in, feeling the rest coming through your body, and sighing it out. The month of Kislev, every month has a characteristic that's embodied within it, and the one of Kislev is bitachon. It means confidence and safety, bitachon. It's also known as a month of dreams. And so in this month, amongst all the darkness, the physical darkness, we have confidence that the light will come again. How do we know we don't? Maybe spring won't come again, but we've seen enough circles of the world that we know even through the darkness, the light always comes. Breathing in and sighing out, HA. The month of Kislev is also the first time that a rainbow was reported when we had the covenant made with God after the flood of Noah. First time a rainbow was recorded in history. So we breathe in the miracles of this month, the Ness, the miracle of Hanukkah, the miracle of the rainbow, breathing it in and letting it out. Wherever your mind has wandered, bringing it back, releasing our face muscles, wiggling your eyebrows, wiggling your jaw, using your smile muscle, making your smile go up and down and up and down. Maybe that muscle is a bit stronger these days, being used a lot. Maybe it hasn't been used very much, so let's exercise the smile. Breathing in, smiling, letting it consume our face. And HA, sighing it out. Knowing we're here with another 200 people exercising their smile, maybe letting that bring a little bit of humor to your day, breathing it in and letting it go. Dropping down into our bodies, making sure we're not clenching our eyes, but they're just gently closed, like a blink almost. And now I want you to imagine that you're standing in a place with lush green everywhere around you. Whatever that green may be for you, maybe it's a forest, maybe it's Central Park, maybe it's the few trees outside your building that you see every day that give you a little bit of oxygen. Maybe it's a place you were when you were younger. Wherever you are, place both your right and your left foot down in this new environment, breathing in and placing your feet on the ground, feeling the crunch of the earth below you. As we continue our breath, let's see our environment as an embodiment for the month of Kislev. Let's see a cloud-covered sky above us, a gray above us. Let's see a canopy of trees so rich that no light can almost get through. We're in the safety of the forest canopy, breathing in and letting it go. Hearing the silence. There's a quote that says, "In silence I begin to hear, and in darkness I begin to see." Imagine your eyes going into night vision, darkness vision, seeing clearly. Continuing to breathe, seeing the true light coming in through your eyes. Noticing what noises are coming, maybe to interfere or to join you with love. And together on our next breath, imagining ourselves taking a few steps forward through this darkness, through the darkness of this forest, through the evening. And as we walk through, whether you're imagining daytime or nighttime, looking up at the sky and seeing a crack of light coming through. Breathing in, seeing the sun cracking through the clouds, its rays shining down. Or maybe you're walking at night and you see the light of the moon shining through. Feeling the excitement for that tiny bit of light that's there always if we just take a moment to notice it. Breathing in, letting our chest rise and expand, our shoulders coming up once more. And letting it out, feeling the light passing through your body. Breathing in, feeling the crisp, cold air filling your nostrils, filling your forehead, filling your brain, refreshing you. And sighing it out. And as we keep going through the forest, imagining yourself arriving to a tree trunk that's fallen down. Imagine yourself in front of this enormous tree that was once standing tall with its branches reaching out, and seeing it laying on the ground in a new form of its being. And on one hand, we can look at this tree as in its moment of death. But as we come closer to the tree and we put our hands on it, we feel it soft and damp. And suddenly, as we take one more breath in, we step closer to the tree in its state of post-life. Breathing in and breathing out, seeing the countless hundreds new forms of life that are branching out of it, little leaves and sprouts, maybe little mushrooms or fungi. And suddenly, this tree that experienced its sleep, its hibernation, or its death is a source of life. Breathing in and letting it go. As we head in towards our winter, what are we going to leave behind? And what are we inviting to grow when spring comes again? Taking a deep breath in continuing our breath silently. Slowly bringing our mind back when it wanders with our breath. Honoring our need to use this winter to recharge, to recuperate. And our next breath in, making a commitment to ourselves that no matter how hard it may seem or how dark the world may seem around us, that this winter we will greet it with honor. We will listen to the patterns of the light around us. We will sleep. We will rest. We will rejuvenate. And even in the darkness, we will act as that little sliver of light breaking through the clouds. We will see in ourselves the moonlight coming through the trees. And we will serve as a space as the soft tree comes down to transition into the home of new life. Taking one more deep, deep, deep breath in, letting it fill your whole being. Holding it. And HA. Placing first your right hand on your heart, followed by your left. Making a double kiss pocket for your heart. Lev, kiss lev. And on your next breath in, letting these words sink into you, breathing in. I feel the light within me, breathing in. And letting it go, I shine the light around me. Beginning to wiggle your toes. Wiggling your eyebrows, wiggling your fingers a little bit. And whenever you're ready, coming back to the space. Thank you so much for joining. I hope it brought you some peace for going into winter. And thank you, Mark. Thank you, IJS.
Thank you so much, Kat. Thanks for this beautiful practice today. And friends, we seal it as we do each day. If you're in mourning or observing a yard site, if it's your custom to join in the Mourner's Kaddish, you're welcome to do so. Thanks to Natalie for sharing the words on the screen. If you're not reciting Kaddish, we hope you'll stay present for a moment to support those who are also invited to put the name or names of anyone you're remembering or honoring today in the chat now or after we recite Kaddish. And if you are doing so, I invite you to join me by rising in body or in spirit, and you can unmute at this time. Yitgadal, Yitkadash Shemei Rabbah, Yalma Dibrat V'Te V'Yamlich V'Te, Chayechon V'Yamechon, Chaye Dechol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala V'Zman Kariv V'Yimru. Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah Mevarach, V'Olam V'Ome Amaya. Yitbarach V'Yishtabach V'Yit'ar V'Yitramam V'Yinaseh. Yitadar V'Yitaleh V'Yitalal Shmei Dukudashah Barichu La'ela Mikol Berchata V'Shirata Ushbechata V'Nechamata V'Amiran Be'olam V'Yimru. Amen. Yehi Shalom Rabba Melchim Shemaya V'Chayim Aleinu Yisrael Amen. Oseh Shalom B'Ramav U'Yaseh Shalom Aleinu V'Al Kol Yisrael V'Al Kol Yoshvei Tevel Yimru. Amen. Amen.
Amen.
Friends, thanks so much for joining us today. If you're leaving us now, hope you'll join us tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'll be leading our sit. It's a quarterly sit that is co-sponsored by Dorot in New York City, and we will be focusing on issues relating to aging tomorrow, and looking forward to that sit. Also on Friday, we hope you'll join us. Yeah, El Shai will be leading us to sit into Shabbat together. Thanks to Natalie for holding our space, to Cat Korren for leading us so beautifully today. And as always, you're invited to stay on just to share your reflections on your experience with today's practice, or to ask questions. And if it's a question for Cat, please put it in the chat and preface it by writing question all in caps. And want to extend our prayers for comfort and condolence to those reciting Kaddish today. May you be comforted among all those who are mourning. So Kat, thanks so much. Let's bring you back in here. It was interesting. I'm aware, living as I've lived my whole life in the Northern Hemisphere, that about the cycle of the Jewish year through the framework of that. But here you are way down there, where I assume it's, well, I don't know, I guess you're in the mountains, so it might be cold, but it's certainly, the days are much longer, right? So I was wondering actually, even though it was a beautiful meditation for this time of year in the Northern Hemisphere, the darkness, the cold, the kind of hibernating season, how's it different? And maybe we have some other folks who are here who are also in the southern hemisphere. Um, what's that like for you?
I'm so glad that you just asked that question because I think with every meditation, for as much as I plan it, it also comes out spontaneously from different parts of what my mind is thinking. And I realized that as I was giving the winter meditation, I think it was almost a self-soothing practice for me, which is having sun all day long almost can make you lose your mind a little bit because you're going to sleep in the light and it's 11 p.m. and you're waking up in the light and it's 7 and that there's something. I'm a New Yorker born and raised and I live in Israel now, that there's something really that's a treasure of having that moment to of darkness, even if it's the nighttime in the summer. And
Yep.
as a New Yorker, I actually appreciate when the rain comes and the leaves fall and the darkness comes. But being here on the other side of the planet, I find myself actually just thinking about what do they experience when their days are 5 hours long, when their sun is 5 hours long. And so I think the whole thing brings us back to building a strong inner biological clock, which is how can I move? I'm traveling a lot all the time. I travel around the world, and question is with jet lag or with moving, or maybe you just had a grandchild or a child, and your inner biological clock is shifting from external settings and factors, is how can I keep that within me that can still fall asleep at 10 p.m. even though the sun hasn't set yet. And I learned a few years ago in Svat, actually, someone taught me, a farmer I was working with, that we used to adjust the foods we eat and the way we sleep according to the season around us, meaning we eat less fruit in the winter and more vegetables, and this way we kind of localize our body to what's going on around us. And we really stopped doing that for the most part. And so now being here in Argentina, when it's mostly empanadas and a lot of asado and entrecote and meat, is trying to listen to what is my body actually needing now, not just what is the setting around me giving me, but what's my inner clock showing. So thanks for the question, because I think it gave me a breath of fresh air a little bit, that I can also go into the darkness and find and be okay. Almost me needing to find the darkness inside and not the light.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like it's such a I guess it points out how much the Jewish calendar, in terms of its connection with the natural cycle, is connected with Jews, I guess, and how much of it had to do with Jews being in the northern hemisphere. But um, the other part of it is that we can, I don't know what it's like for you to imagine that kind of hibernation and going to the darkness and time of dreams and all that. But that also is kind of a state of consciousness, right? Like it may or may not be reflected in the world around us, but it applies at all times. Um, I want to go back to a couple of things you said, and by the way, we're going to need to end just a few minutes earlier than we usually do today because we need this. We need the Zoom room for Josh Figelson's conversation with Joshua Leifer for those who are signed up for that, which is going to follow next on our IJS station here. Um, and that has to do with the themes for Kislev of bitachon, of trust and dreams. And we're not quite up to the story of Joseph and his brothers in the Torah cycle, but that will be coming next week, the beginning of that story, and always associate those qualities with that narrative. Obviously, Joseph the dreamer, so dreams are really connected with him. And also, there's no mention of the name of God in that part of the Torah and the whole narrative of Joseph. God kind of retreats behind the scenes and is not mentioned by name. God doesn't say anything throughout all that. So God is kind of hidden. And so there has to be this kind of intuiting of trust. So the question here I have for you is, I think it's really an apt midah or quality for the winter and for entering into the darkness and for kind of embracing the sleepiness that you were describing, the kind of hibernating, which requires a surrender, right? Like every night when we go to sleep, we kind of turn over controls and trust that we are going to wake up again in the morning, and that we can go into the darkness. And I think these are qualities which, for lots of reasons are really needed these days. As we are feeling a lot of us feeling so much, sense of foreboding and challenge in that way. How about what do you think? I mean, you also spend quite a bit of your time in Israel, and how does that play out for you? The connection between trust and dreams, and entering the darkness and hibernating and cultivating
Yeah,
this ability to trust that we're going to be okay in the end.
it's a big question that I'm learning to do also.
You
But
only
what
have
you
two.
made
You only
me
have 2 minutes to answer that question.
what I was gonna say is, and someone actually just wrote about it, is there's trust and there's faith, right? There's
Yeah.
trust, which is um, and in Hebrew they're very different words. We have imunah, which is faith, which is
Hmm.
kind of trusting that something bigger than us, God or whatever you choose to believe in, will kind of carry out the way. And then there's
Hmm.
bitachon, which is something in Israel. It's very important. It's safety that we have bitachon, we have confidence, we have also trust, but it's something more physical. And I think when you live in Israel, you understand that in order to survive, you really need a combination of both. And that if you just say, I have emunah, it's
Right.
almost giving the destiny to something outside of you. Whereas bitachon is also something more inside, that I have bitachon, trust inside myself. So I think emunah and bitachon, or
Hmm.
trust and faith, that they're the same word, but they're really different. It's where this, and that's the essence of Judaism. Like we have the spiritual Judaism, and we also have physical Judaism that we can practice and do, whether it's lighting a candle on Shabbat or going to synagogue, whatever that means in the physical realm. So it's the marriage of those two realms. And in Israel, I think we've lost sight from both sides to the other, and that in order to have a successful civilization, but that's Judaism, we can lose sight of it. But if we don't have, we're in the Institute of Jewish Spirituality, we need a little bit of both to
Hmm.
show up to practice, to breathe for 30 minutes,
Hmm.
but also then to carry it out on our other days when we're not here, or maybe when we miss the practice. So I think
Yeah.
it's emunah and bitachon together. We have a perfect recipe.
Great. All right, we need to end here. As always, thanks, Kat. Maybe we can put your contact info again in the chat for people who want to be in touch and learn about your offerings. Thanks, as always, for leading us so beautifully today, and to Natalie for holding our space beautifully, as always, and each of you for being here. Look forward to our sit tomorrow with Dorot at our usual time. And Kat, hope you have wonderful, safe travels,
Thank
and
you so much.
enjoy being there. Okay.
Thank you.